Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, who I am so grateful for giving me this opportunity to be able to be part of another Ramadan and spend it with my family. With the pandemic and everything that we've gone through, I'm so grateful to have my loved ones around me and be able to spend this blessed month with them. I hope we are all having a good Ramadan and spending enough time with our family and making lots of ibadat. On Adore Eats, I'm really happy to share with you simple, exotic and unconventional Ramadan treats that you can use in your homes, that your families love, and it doesn't take lots of time to make. A lot of these meals are meals I've learned from travel or from people that I've spent time with, as well as guests that have taught me some of these really good recipes, and I'm really excited to share with you. So today we're going to be making something quite different, and it could substitute as a meal or a Ramadan treat. We're going to be making some fluffy puris, which I'll make from scratch with you, with some shemi kebab, sort of, I'd say kebab mixes, but like little patties, which we'll be using chicken mince, and we've also been using some shan spice with it, but with chicken mince. So to make this, we're going to be using 2 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons baking powder. There's a pinch of salt in here. Approximately, I'd say 1.5 cups of milk. You use your milk as necessary, and a teaspoon of butter. We then have about 1/2 kg mince. We have a teaspoon of green chili masala, teaspoon of parsley, teaspoon of Ina Parman's garlic chili spice, teaspoon of turmeric, and our shan spice. You can use this as required based on how spicy you would like your spices, and salt to taste. So I always say with salt, you can add on as required, maybe a teaspoon, teaspoon and a half, just depends. So we're going to start with making our kebabs, and thereafter we'll start making our puri dough and start frying them while our kebabs are getting fried. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is a really easy recipe, but really tasty. And because chicken dough is something that binds so well, we don't require to use anything to bind it. So we add in our chicken. We then add in our shan spice. Then add in our parsley. Add in our salt. Add in our garlic chili spice. And our turmeric. And that's all it takes to make this. And we give it a good mix and make our really nice kebabs that we'll be using. So we make our nice, really rounded little kebabs out of these. And we put these to fry. So the main thing about this, it has to be a really good meaty taste. You don't want to add onions. You're not making a kebab curry. You actually want, I'd say, the way you get the Wagyu beef patties, you want really good meaty texture. You want to actually taste the chicken and the spice with your puri. And with this, a really good dip goes well. So you have chopped onions layered, and then after you add a really nice dip. So you just mix it up like this. And you make it into little kebabs. I'm going to pour out some oil to assist me with making my kebabs. Let me pour some into a bowl. This will just help me with greasing my hands. Okay, so Bismillah. Anything that, uses, that has chicken mince, chicken is always also cooks really quick, which is nice and easy for Ramadan. So we're going to layer them here. I mean, you want to take away the long process in Ramadan with cooking. You want to be able to spend time with your family at the table. Also, we've been having an influx of load shedding and water crisis in Johannesburg, as well as Durban. Okay, so our oils are really hot. I'm going to move that because we don't want very hot oil. I'm just going to decrease that a bit. So with our issues of load shedding, there's quite limited time to prepare for iftar as well as other meals. So the time that we do have, we need to maximize with something wholesome and tasty that we can make for our families to eat. And this is definitely one of those meals. And I love using the shan spices in my home. I mean, they come pre-packed in a box like this, and they're so easy. It takes away half your cooking time. And you get such exotic tastes, your food automatically tastes different. So this is our little kebabs. And then these just steam and fry. And while these get done, we make our fresh, lovely, fluffy puris on which we'll then put our lovely kebabs, and we'll garnish with some onions, a good dip. I think a yogurt dip is always tasty with puri. And I'm almost done making my kebabs, and I'm going to start frying them. So these, I think about 500 grams makes quite a few if we're a family of 2 adults and 2 kids. But if you're a family of more, with chicken mince, it goes a long way. So 1 kg should be sufficient. And you can always freeze these kebabs. So if you've made extra and they've been fried already, you can always freeze them. So here we go. I'm going to add my kebabs to the pan. Bismillah. These smell so good. You can just smell all the exotic aromas. Gives such a difference. You get such a different smell to our normal spices. Shan spices are often used in Karachi and India. So you get a very, I'd say, authentic Indian smell and flavor in your cooking with this. So I'm going to decrease the temperature of this a bit so that it can steam first and then cook. And make sure my oil for my puri is ready. And now we're going to start with the next part of our meal, which is our puri. I'm just looking that this is cooking well. I don't want any burnt kebabs. Let me toss it a bit. Okay, so these are cooking already really easy. So chicken mince generally always cooks well. It's not a very lengthy process to cook chicken mince. It's quite a quick cooking process compared to steak mince, steak or beef. I feel like in Ramadan, as much as you want steak, it's better to cook chicken because you want a less cooking time. You want to be able to eat your meals quicker. So I'm just going to add a lid to this so that these kebabs can steam a bit. And I'm going to decrease the temperature. So now we're going to start with our next process. Let me give my hands a good wipe. This is our really good puris that we're going to be making. So for here we add our flour. I'm just going to leave out some flour for me to roll out my puris. I then put in my teaspoon of butter in which I just crumb it really well. So I crumb my butter. So the secret to this puri is you use warm milk. There's no water or any other ingredient. We just use warm milk. I then add my baking powder and I mix this really well. I'm just going to have a look at my kebabs while they're frying. I really don't want burnt kebabs. Okay, so these are getting done perfectly, and so is my oil. I want very hot oil. So now we're going to start with our lovely puris. We've added our baking powder. And so I'd say a cup of milk, but you need to add sparingly as you need. So add your milk and see if it's enough. Because you don't want too much of milk or too little milk. You just want a really good dough. So you want a nice and sticky dough. So I'm adding a little more flour just so it's not sticky. And now I'm going to make the dough with my hands. You must know warm milk always makes it a bit sticky and fluffy, and especially the baking powder consistency. So you're not going to need this dough too much. You just want a soft dough that you're going to roll out very lightly without pressure, because you still want to keep the air bubbles in, which allows oil not to penetrate into your puris. So this is my really soft and good dough. So now I'm going to dust some flour onto my surface. And this is where I'm going to roll out my nice puri and check on those nice kebabs. Let's have a look at them. Oh, these are getting done really well. Our kebabs are getting done to perfection. You'll notice they're like a golden brown color. The shan spice doesn't have much red coloring or green coloring in it, so it gives it a very authentic Pakistani Indian look. And my oil is getting quite hot, which I need to move. So the secret to making good puris is you must have hot oil. The minute your oil is not a really hot temperature, your puris are not going to rise. There we go. I'm going to roll out this. You can see it's a really fluffy, soft dough. And you just lightly, you don't vigorously go over it. You go lightly, and you then rotate the dough, and you go lightly this way. And you just sort of stretch the dough out. It does not require to be rolled out like a roti or bread. The dough just requires to be stretched out nicely. So I'm just going to stretch it out like this. So the shape I use is really easy. I don't cut them into perfect circles. I do something much easier for us to use. And you'll have a look. They're going to be in different triangles. So I even them out like this. And you then need to roll it out a little more to make sure that it's a good, fine, a thin texture, because you don't want a thick puri. So you just see that it's nice and rolled out and your oil is nice and hot. Okay, so we are frying our puris. So I just moved my pot off the stove because my oil was too hot. So you can move it back and moderate your temperature because you don't want your puris to burn. You can see they get really bubbly and they rise really well, and you can see they're light and fluffy and there's absolutely no oil in them. So you can see this is risen so beautiful. Look at this. Perfect fluffy puri. That's exactly what you want your puri to look like, fluffy and good textured. So that's the perfect puri. So we're going to add our last two in. And then we're ready to serve it with our tasty kebabs and some garnish with that. So I'm really looking forward to having my puris with some lepak butter and tea. That's how I enjoy having my puris. I also enjoy serving puris with a potato dish. So an aloo dish, so to say. A really tasty, spiced up potato cooked dish. So puris are also a really quick carb to use instead of roti. Roti takes a bit longer. And if you don't want to have rice, I feel like puris are much quicker. And look at this. It's light, fluffy, lightweight. There's absolutely no oil in it and it's so tasty. So our puris are done and now we're going to serve them with our kebabs. As you can see, I've served these lovely fluffy puris with the Shan Shemi Kebab mix kebabs, and I've garnished it with some nice ashaya yogurt. You can also use Greek or plain yogurt, and I've chopped some sliced onions and parsley and salt sprinkled on it. Another great thing to put on top would be some melted butter, hot butter just before serving. But this is an absolutely lovely dish. It reminds me of a burger, but I'd say an Indian or Pakistani burger. Instead of the bun, we have the puri, we have our mini patties, we have our chopped onion, we can put some tomato, some olives, however you'd like to garnish it, close it up and enjoy. This is so good. I really can't wait for all of you to enjoy this in your homes. Don't forget to tag me on Adore by Adila and Adila Patel with Adore Eats and any of your new recipes that you'd like for me to share. Also, please forward any of your Ramadan and Eid messages that you'd like to convey to family members or loved ones out there. I hope you all are having a blessed Ramadan. Please remember in your duas, and don't forget to follow me on Adore by Adila to order your lovely Eid kaftans from Adore by Adila online. Jazakallah so much. Assalamu alaikum.